Hey everybody, welcome back to the Matt Report. Today I have Dan Roundhill on the call, and he is the project lead behind an app called Simplenote. And maybe you don't know, but this is an Automattic app. It's a note-taking app, Simplenote.com. I use it every single day, about 1,000 times a day, and it's one of these things that I think is just sort of these best kept secrets of Automattic, or things that just aren't really talked about at the state of the word and just the general, ethos of WordPress. We're not really ever talking about those apps, and they're not really geared towards WordPress. They're just an Automattic company, so naturally this is what happens. But I enjoy this product. I would love to be able to blog to my WordPress site through this app. So I had Dan on and I said, "Hey Dan, is that coming soon? When are we going to get this?" And he shed some light onto how this app is developed inside Automattic and what features are coming down the pipeline. So let's go ahead and dive right into this interview with Dan. Before we get there, Season 6 is winding down into the holiday season. What I'm probably going to do is take the unreleased, the director's cut of the official Season 6 that was supposed to happen but got messed up by yours truly on some of the technical snafus that I had. But I've noticed that I can salvage some of them. More importantly, the guests and that I can salvage on a handful of them. And I'll probably release those out towards the end of the year here, as things will get pretty busy for all of us over the holiday season, especially me welcoming our second child. So things are going to get pretty hectic here. And I'll bottle those up and get those out on a regular basis so that you have them over the holiday and into the new year. It's mattreport.com, mattreport.com/subscribe to join the mailing list. Let's get into the show.
I am Dan Roundhill. I have been at Automattic for 7 years now. Started as a mobile engineer there, still am a mobile engineer. Working on the WordPress for Android app. I created the first version of it way back in the day. And since then, I've shuffled around a bit and have ended up on a team that focuses on our kind of more developer-facing products, like our APIs, like Akismet and stuff like that. And also Simperium and Simplenote. Simplenote has been around since the first iPhone. It was a product created by a startup, by a company called Simperium, and it was first created as a very basic notes app that wasn't like Apple Notes. Basically, if you remember Apple Notes, it had kind of a yellow background and a custom font, and not everyone loved that. So they created this app that used Helvetica, and it was just a really easy way to get in and out to take notes on your phone. And it evolved from there, mainly in the area of being able to sync across platforms with all of your devices really quickly and easily, so that no matter where you were and which device you were using, your notes would be there. So that's kind of its core strength.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's listening and you don't use Simplenote, or you haven't at least given it a shot, give it a shot. I mean, that is the reason, one of the reasons why I used to love a to-do app called Wunderlist, is because it worked really, really well cross-platform. And I jump between my iOS phone, my iPad, this is a Windows PC, my MacBook, and sometimes I'm working on other devices, and I just love to be able to sync that. Simplenote does this really well, and I really appreciate that. Maybe another thing that folks might not realize is Automattic has these products, right? We have Simplenote. We have, of course, the name is escaping me right now, the upload, and you can share clips. CloudUp. What other sort of siloed products does Automattic have that you know off the top of your head that we don't normally talk about too much in the WordPress ecosystem?
There's quite a few products that are related to WordPress, so it's kind of hard to. There's not too many of the isolated ones. You've kind of nailed the majority of them, I think there. But there's also Lean Domain Search, which is a website for being able to find a domain you'd like to purchase really quickly and easily. There's stuff like Gravatar, that's kind of runs on its own thing, but is really highly integrated with WordPress. But yeah, Simplenote and CloudUp, I think were sort of a few acquisitions that we made. I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago now. That were kind of their own thing, more for acquiring the team of people that came with them, more of an acqui-hire, I think. But we love the products too.
Is the team still the Simplenote team? Are they still somehow involved in Automattic, or they've
the Simperium team has left. There was 2 people, I think, that got on board, and they got the itch to continue on with something else. So,
yeah, sure. I mean, these 3 products, CloudUp, Simplenote, and VideoPress, that was the other one that was escaping. It's not really sort of like an app-ish product. It's a product, I would imagine, is how Automattic looks at it. These are like 3 apps that I wish I saw more traction. Like sometimes I'm like, can't we just take like just a few more people away from .com and throw them at this stuff? Because there's so many cool things. Like I would love to see much more stuff with VideoPress. I think it's a huge opportunity there. Simplenote. What's the team size? Is it just you pounding away at this product on the daily, or do you have other folks with you working on this?
Well, you'll be pleased to hear that Simplenote has had a renewed focus as of a few months ago. So over the past few years, it's been a handful of people, 2 or 3 engineers that would sort of maintain it and keep it going, as well as maintaining the sync service behind it, which is Simperium. So we're going to basically start up a new team that I'll be leading that will be focusing on Simplenote and Simperium as well as products. So we did release over the past year a brand new application for Windows and Linux that is based on a React application using Electron. So we were excited to get that out there. One of the things that Automattic has done since bringing Simplenote on board was to just try to make it as ubiquitous as possible across platforms, and we were definitely missing on Windows and Linux there. So now it's pretty hard to find a platform that we don't support. So
do you carry that torch for the Simplenote app in terms of new feature sets, roadmap, where this thing wants to go? Can we thank you for all of this hard effort?
I think, yeah, I've been heavily involved for the most part over the past 2 or 3 years. Automattic really loves Simplenote. A lot of people use it within the company. So I would say for features and stuff that we're working on, it's kind of all driven within from just internal conversations. And but with this new focus we're going to be having now from now forward will be more like looking at what users want. So I'm looking forward to hearing your ideas.
I'll tell you right now, I want to be able to blog from Simplenote.
Oh,
I
great.
want to be able to post a blog post from Simplenote. That's what I want. Number one.
That's something that we, of course, have thought about with making Simplenote and WordPress kind of marry them together to get them. Maybe you could even sync your Simplenote with your WordPress posts so that changes you make on WordPress would show back in Simplenote and vice versa. So publishing has been a pretty big part of it. It's really, I don't know if you've done that before in Simplenote, but you can publish a note and it shows up at a little tiny URL. And it's kind of an easy way to share your note with the web, but it could definitely be improved to tie into your actual blog and your WordPress site.
I have never used that. That is amazing. When did that feature come out?
I think it's been out since pretty much the beginning, 2012 or something like that.
I have only used it just to make my notes. I do a lot of sales calls, do just a lot, and drafting blog posts. Quite frankly, I mean, I've gone through probably like so many other people. I've used so many desktop publishing apps. I recently purchased Bear when it started to get a little bit more mature. It's a great app, clean, easy to use, but I always revert back to Simplenote just because I'm in it so often. And I draft up my blog posts there, and that would be an amazing thing for me to be able to share with some of my editors that I have. I never look for it because I never I was always just writing it pretty much for me and copy and pasting it into WordPress. But no, that's awesome.
Yeah, we have people using that publish feature for pretty cool things like poetry, and people are writing books with Simplenote and publishing each chapter that way, stuff like that. So it's pretty amazing just to see how users have taken advantage of what it can do. Its name it can be a little tricky because at its core, it's very good at just taking your notes in plain text. But you can also write your notes in Markdown and publish them to the web, and the syncing engine is working behind the scene the whole time to keep them up to date. So it's pretty powerful behind the scenes.
How do you balance these features? Is it a core? Is there a core practice at Automattic that you adhere to, and features are built the same way in WordPress as they are, or WordPress.com as they are in Simplenote and across products? Or are you sort of able to, figure out your way of managing how features get introduced and how you research features? What does that all look like?
Well, like I said, it sort of bubbles up internally from what people at Automattic were wanting to do with it. So that's basically how it's been. But I think from now on, we're gonna, we have a great support team, have happy engineers at Automattic that kind of gather feedback from our users from the App Store and from emails they send us, and we put that on. Basically, it's sort of a upvoted list of features requests that users are looking for. So I think kind of up high on the list is stuff like easier formatting of text. People would like to just easily bold or add italic to text, and it's pretty hard to do that in the app right now, just when it's based on plain text. Support for images, being able to attach them to a note, stuff like that. So I think sort of those things are what we're looking into. Simplenote also used to have a premium version, which we retired a few years ago, which had some pretty cool features, like being able to send a note to an email address, and it would show up in your Simplenote account. Dropbox sync, so you could have text files.
I do remember that. I do remember Dropbox sync.
Yeah. So one thing we'd like to do is sort of explore that again as well. What would a premium version look like again of Simplenote that would add value to users?
Is there a world where Simplenote and CloudUp and VideoPress, they all sort of merge into like some kind of gigantic editor kind of thing, or is it like, does your team speak to the like the CloudUp team and sort of brainstorm combination of features? Because I see so much potential parity on both sides that, and of course WordPress, connecting it up to your WordPress blog.com or self-hosted, that kind of thing. Is there any kind of conversations like that happening, or is it still just sort of more of an organic thing right now?
Yeah, actually there was, speaking of attaching images, we were talking about the other day, and someone's like, well, we could just, have a Simplenote user is a CloudUp user too. So when they add an image to their note, it'll get added to CloudUp, and then we could just put the link in there to show the image, via the Markdown preview. So we definitely have ideas about how our products can work together more closely. And CloudUp and Simplenote are completely different entities at the moment, so it'd take a bit of work, I think, to kind of get that working. But we definitely love both CloudUp and Simplenote, and it does make sense to sort of think about them working together.
I'll throw another feature / idea at you. You don't have to bake all of these in. I appreciate the fact that you will make all of these features available.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You don't have to.
No promises.
So I would love folders, and I appreciate tags because I feel like the iteration on tags is sort of a folder thing in a way, because you can expand the left column and you can click on a tag and it sort of reorganizes all that. But I would love folders where I could do folder-based tags. as well. So because I take notes from many different of my properties, this podcast, Pagely, the Matt Report, stuff like that, I like to sort of bucket all of those things in, but I can also understand the complexities that brings from a user's perspective. It's like, well, how do we organize that? How do we display that? So is that something that you've considered, like the folder organization from that hierarchy, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, folders have been requested quite often from users. We have a little running joke about when adding a feature would make the app called Complex Note. And so
yeah, I totally agree.
We feel like adding folders and tags would be sort of a complex note thing. And it seems like, at least for the most part, most users are able to organize things the way they'd like using tags. So folders has not gotten like the kind of like mutual approval for going for it. And also it would be a bit more of a add quite a bit of complexity just with the code and syncing, and then we'd need to add that to all of the apps. So it'd be a big project, but definitely something that isn't like off the table.
Are there any features coming soon that you can talk about? Things that are pretty cool that are happening?
Well, yeah. Well, our native Mac OS app has fallen behind a little bit. In our most recent blog post, we talked about how we were going to kind of focus on that again and get it some new life. The design of one of our designers, Dave Whitley, did an amazing design update of Simplenote last year, which is we kind of shipped that out to all of the apps, Android, iOS, and the Windows and Electron app. But we weren't quite sure what to do with the native Mac app because we had the potential to use our Electron app for the Mac as well and to replace it. But we decided we still really like the speed and the low memory usage of the native Mac app when compared to the Electron version. So we've decided to just basically bring it up to par with the other apps. So it's going to be getting a UI update. It's going to have native sharing menus, so you can share your note to mail or whatever very easily. And it's going to add, and then after this release that will have a UI update, we're going to add Markdown support as well because it's missing that. So more of a catch-up kind of release for it. And then from there, we're looking at, I think what we'll do next after that is looking at maybe improvements for Markdown rendering across the apps, and also potentially looking into those kind of premium features that I was mentioning, like image support and rich text editing and stuff like that. So,
do you look at I think on the WordPress side of things, like where, we hear Matt talk about sort of, hey, look at our competitors, with air quotes, the Wixes, the Squarespaces of the world. Do you all look at competitors for Simplenote to that degree, or not really, because you're not really going the commercial route of Simplenote right now?
Yeah, I would say in the past it's not something we were traditionally like interested in, comparing competitors. Of course, we would look at different apps and be like, oh, this is cool how this works, but I think as we start to look at a premium version, we'll start to get more serious about that. Look what other apps or other notes apps are doing. I think Simplenote is at its core is sync, and that's what it's good at, and that's what we'll always focus on. Will be a free feature. Other notes apps, they seem to sort of paywall that. So if you want to sync with more than one device on Evernote or Bear, that's when you pony up. But I think we'll look into keeping Simplenote the way it is right now for free, and then looking at adding some more of these premium features that'll be totally new things.
Yeah, I mean, these writing apps are probably right up there with to-do list apps and calendar apps, right? Like I think it goes like calendar apps, to-do apps, and then probably writing apps, where I just see so much competition and so many people entering the market. I've had John Saddington on before. He created Of course, I'm going to forget the name of the app that I think it was just called Writer, I think.
Okay.
I've had the founder of Blogo on before.
Oh, yeah.
And that was an amazing tool. I have used it, and really what comes down to me as a user, like, hey Matt, why, like, number one, I like to try all these things. I'm probably just like a connoisseur of apps. I don't know, but
Yeah, me too.
But the thing that really gets it for me is which app am I end up living in all day that's going to do 80% of what I want. So I'm not switching apps all the time. And that's where Simplenote hits that sweet spot for me, and that's why I end up falling back to it, even though I've tried all the writing apps. It's a competitive space, and there's a lot of marketing involved in these writing apps from the app store level, and it's just like beauty, design, and function. And when you marry those two or three, that's what really sells these products. And it's a lot about marketing. And it's just funny because sometimes you can buy something because you're like, oh, look how beautiful that is. Like, that writing experience is beautiful. But then you get into it and it's like, man, it doesn't sync well with my WordPress site. Because I've been in that. I bought a whole bunch before, and it's like you hit publish and it's just beach balling and it's spinning and you're like, what is going on? And then sometimes you find yourself with an idea and you're on your phone and you're like, I want to jot this. I want to jot these few lines down into this draft that I have, and you can't access it because they don't have a mobile phone, or you did it on your laptop and you can't get to it. So I mean, as beautiful and as marketing driven as these things are, sometimes they fall short. And I think that Simplenote has a real leg up. Obviously, being an Automattic product, but to connect with WordPress and be able to do that kind of thing would be amazing. I know this sounds like a Simplenote ad, everyone. I understand. I do love the product.
I paid Matt no money for this.
How do you get involved with sort of the marketing and messaging side of Simplenote and how that should shape out across to iTunes and Google Play and to the product site, that kind of thing?
Oh, right. I am involved with updating those things, but we have an amazing editorial team that does a really fantastic job of getting our content and stuff that's going to be more user-facing, like App Store descriptions and stuff like that. So I tend to lean on them for that kind of stuff. Marketing is a pretty new team at Automattic, and they've been busy with WordPress.com marketing, so haven't quite gotten to the point where we'll be marketing Simplenote aggressively, but I look forward to that in the future. I think it will probably happen.
Look, Matt, let me just talk to Matt right now. Look, Matt, spend some money on Simplenote. Spend some money on VideoPress, because I think these two products are killer products, or it can be killer products, and that's something that I can get behind. I really do. I really do like that. So come on, Matt, shave out
Matt
some of that marketing budget.
Is a big fan of Simplenote. Like he uses it. So
we'll get him on your side pretty soon.
He's not afraid to promote it. So that's great. One thing just thought to mention is that like you were mentioning, that you just keep coming back to Simplenote, and that's kind of what our users tell us. The same thing. They just really love it, and we'll get App Store reviews that says, "I've been using this app for 5 years," and it's just kind of my reliable go-to tool, and I can't live without it. And that's just like what we love to hear. Features might not be added as quickly as other notes apps and stuff, but we just at its core want it to be a reliable note-taking tool.
I know you can't make any promises with this next question, but I'm curious just to hear maybe your thought process and how maybe you all have digested this internally as you've talked about it. But I think a lot of people who are super passionate about a product, like you said, you get these emails, you get these messages where people say, "This is my go-to tool, I love it," and then Simplenote relaunches a premium service, and just as well as I know, everybody's going to say, "Oh God, here we go."
Yeah.
What features are you going to take away from me? Why do I have to pay for this? It's been free for all of this time. How do you internalize that? Is that a discussion that you've already had, and is it just sort of up on your Kanban board somewhere where you're like, these will stay free, and here's what we might move to paid, and what does that look like internally?
I think what we would probably do, the smartest move, I think, would be to not take anything away. That's kind of one of the worst things you can do with an app, if it's free or not. If you take a feature away, that's not good. So I think we definitely don't want to change the experience for existing users. We'll have to discuss it more. But I, from my point of view, I think we could add. There's definitely features that it's missing, like stuff we've already talked about, that I think people would be happy to pay for, being able to attach an image and stuff like that. So maybe it's just where we just kind of draw a line in the sand. Like, the app's been free up to this point with this level of features, and that will continue to be free, and then we'll continue to iterate on it and add some premium features. And a lot of what premium features could be, at least for right now, as far as what we would launch, would be the kind of maybe the restoration of that Dropbox sync and the email note thing and stuff like that. So
it's easier now to probably submit an app to iTunes,
right,
and Google Play, but I'm sure that there's a little bit of, bureaucracy or just waiting for things to happen and get approved. And if there's any insights to that side that you could share with listeners of, maybe iTunes is better. Like, maybe you love iTunes way more than you love Google Play. I don't know. But if you have any of those types of insights, it would be interesting.
Oh, okay. Got you. I think sort of the thing that we struggled with for a long time was not being able to have a conversation with the users that were leaving us reviews on at least Apple's App Store. And on Google Play, you were pretty much always able to do that, because especially with WordPress and the WordPress apps, it's pretty easy to break your site, right? So there might be a problem with someone's host and they didn't have XML-RPC enabled, which is what the apps used to use to connect to your site. I think they still use it a little bit. And so a user giving us a 1-star review because they're getting some XML-RPC error, really hard to understand, and not being able to reply to them to help them out was really hard. But now that we are able to have those conversations across all the platforms, because they added that to Apple's App Store, that's helped us a lot. And like I said as well, we kind of have a great happiness support team, and they're able to kind of gather requests and to keep kind of the feedback loop there between the developers and the users. And so I think just what I would say is to listen to your users, especially with app reviews. When you have hundreds of thousands or millions of users, you're definitely going to see a common thread as far as what people are missing or what problems they're having. And I think that's something we've done pretty well at Automattic, is to really listen to the users and get their feedback and kind of iterate from there.
Are there happiness engineers dedicated to supporting Simplenote, or do they cover all
yes.
Automattic stuff?
There are a dedicated team.
Oh, cool.
I think they might also do other support, but we definitely have a core group of happiness engineers that help out with Simplenote.
Anything else that you'd like to share about Simplenote or the future of Simplenote as we sort of wrap up here?
Just a reminder that we open sourced them last year. So anyone who is interested in trying out the apps and building them themselves, maybe contributing, they're all on GitHub, github.com/Automattic, and then you can search from there to find the apps. Also, if you're a developer, check out Simperium.com, which is the syncing service behind Simplenote, and you could use that for any app where you want to move data between devices. So, little plug there.
I do. I remember the news about Simperium, and I remember digging into it. And you know, again, just like thinking back years ago when these acquisitions happened and these products came about, I was like, man, I'm just so pumped for these products. And it's good to hear. It's refreshing to hear that there's going to be some, they're going to be, I don't want to say reinvigorated, but there's going to be a good push behind them again. I know I'm excited to see some reinvestment in that front. What are there any other notable apps outside of Automattic that's leveraging that technology? Apps that people might know about?
Yeah, there's a few like game apps that use it. One called Shark Bridge. It's like a bridge card playing game. And then there's kind of our biggest user is ForeFlight, which is it's a app for pilots. So when they're flying, they can use the app and it tracks their routes and all that kind of stuff. So that's definitely worth checking out if you're a pilot.
One more question. It's a little bit technical. We don't have to dive into too much of the technicals because it might be especially over my head. But a lot of people use WordPress as an app itself, right? They might build a web app with WordPress, and you know, there's always, is it a blogging platform? Is it a CMS? Is it this app framework? Can you look at Simplenote as a framework for an app, much like people might fold up WordPress to do a web app, even though it's not dubbed it that way? But can people look at Simplenote in that same light if they wanted to start an app, not a note-taking app, but maybe just gives them a good framework for something like that?
Yeah, if you're able to kind of go to just go and check out the apps on GitHub, and you can kind of see how they work and how they interact with Simperium, for example. It's an easy way to see, because a note-taking app at its core isn't like a ton of things going on, right? Because you kind of have a list of notes and you have your editor, and then you know, other stuff there happens as well. But I think like that's why a lot of people, when they're starting out building an app, might build something like a notes app, just because it kind of uses the kind of standard things that they offer you in Android and iOS for a list view and, you know, a text editor, that kind of stuff. So we definitely get like a lot of contributors that are kind of new to coding, which is awesome. With the Simplenote app, so they'll come in and try to work out solving a bug, and we're definitely happy to have them and kind of help them learn, and then we can also get bugs fixed, and it's a good deal.
That's awesome, Dan. This has been a great conversation. I'm super excited to dive into Simplenote. I'm glad that there's some stuff coming for it. I'm excited for it. Where can folks find you to say thanks?
I'm on Twitter at Dan Roundhill, or they can always email me at dan@a8c.com. That's a8c.com. And
get your feature requests in now.
Yeah, right. And of course, if you want to make a feature request, you can always go to simplenote.com. We have a contact area there that will send a message to our happiness engineers as well.
Awesome. Everybody else, mattreport.com, mattreport.com/subscribe to join the mailing list. That's the #1 way to stay connected. We'll see you in the next episode. Hey, everybody. Thanks for sticking around and listening to this episode and supporting the Matt Report. For over 5 years now, it's been a pleasure of mine. It was a pleasure to have this guest on today to talk about their business and how they run it. Speaking of business, if you have something you're launching, you have a new website, a new marketing page, a new product, anything that could use a second set of eyes, you can find me at userfeedbackvideos.com. That's userfeedbackvideos.com, where I will review your product, your landing page, your funnel, whatever workflow or starting point you want me to take a look at online. I'll do that. I'll record it. I'll send it to you in a private screencast with my feedback from over a decade of experience in this space, marketing, technology, WordPress, and otherwise. I hope to see you there. It's userfeedbackvideos.com. It's like having a co-founder for $59.